Ladies and gentlemen, sons and daughters of the Most High, today I bring you a word that has the power to shift your life, alter your destiny, and open the floodgates of heaven's potential within you. The Holy Spirit is not a mere influence or energy. He is the governor of the kingdom of heaven. He is the one sent by the King to equip, empower, and enable us to live out the original intent of God. You were not born to live a life of limitation. You were born to dominate. You were born to subdue. And you were born to manifest heaven on earth. But none of this is possible without the power of the Holy Spirit. If you want to do what others say is impossible, you must be empowered by the one who transcends human limits. Let's dive deep into the truth that you can do the impossible, not by might nor by power, but by the Spirit of the living God. You were never created to live independently from your source. From the very beginning, God's design for humanity was that we would function under divine influence and supernatural power. When God formed Adam from the dust of the ground, the body was perfectly crafted, yet lifeless. It wasn't until God breathed into Adam the breath of life, the Ruach, the Spirit of God, that man became a living being. This breath is not just air, it is the very essence of divine energy, life, and authority. The Holy Spirit is not an afterthought. He is the original power source from which humanity was meant to draw life, wisdom, strength, and purpose. You cannot fulfill a heavenly mandate with earthly strength. Many are frustrated not because they lack vision, but because they are trying to fulfill that vision without power. The Spirit of God is heaven's government agent on earth, sent to empower you to live beyond your natural ability. This is why Jesus, even though he was fully God, did no miracles, signs, or wonders until the Spirit descended upon him like a dove at his baptism. Jesus modeled what it looks like to live in full dependence on the Holy Spirit. If the Son of God needed the Spirit to fulfill his assignment, how much more do we? When the Holy Spirit enters your life, he does not come just to comfort you, but to charge you. He doesn't come to make you feel good. He comes to make you effective. Too many believers treat the Holy Spirit as an emotional experience rather than an empowering presence. But Acts 1:8 is clear. You shall receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you. Not just peace, not just joy, not just comfort, power. Power to speak when you're afraid. Power to act when you feel weak. Power to believe when everything around you says doubt. That word power is dunamis in Greek. It's where we get the word dynamite. Explosive, supernatural, life-altering power that demolishes limitations and makes the impossible. Without the Holy Spirit, your Christian walk becomes religious activity without divine impact. You may sing the right songs, quote the right scriptures, attend the right services, but without power, there is no fruit. The Holy Spirit is the power behind your prayer life, the fire behind your worship, the authority behind your words. He turns information into revelation and revelation into transformation. Without him, the Bible is just another book, but with him, it becomes a living, breathing sword in your hand. Too many of us are plugged into the wrong source. We plug into people, hoping their approval will sustain us. We plug into achievements, thinking success will fulfill us. We plug into religion, thinking good behavior will empower us. But all of these sources will fail because none of them are designed to carry the weight of your calling. Only the Holy Spirit can fuel your divine purpose. He is the only source that doesn't run dry, doesn't malfunction, and doesn't fade with time. The same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead now dwells in you. Think about that. Resurrection power is not reserved for Easter Sunday. It is alive in you right now. This means there is no situation in your life that is beyond his ability to resurrect. He can breathe life into your dying marriage, restore your broken dreams, reignite your lost passion, and awaken the gifts inside you that have been buried under fear and disappointment. The impossible becomes not only possible, but inevitable when the Spirit is involved. God has never asked you to do anything in your own strength. In fact, he expects you not to. When God calls you to a vision, he already factors in the power of the Spirit to accomplish it. That's why your vision often feels overwhelming. It's supposed to. If it doesn't scare you a little, it might not be from God. Because what God calls you to do, only he can empower you to do. And he does that through his Spirit. The Holy Spirit doesn't just come to help you get by. He comes to launch you beyond your ability. He makes you speak with wisdom beyond your education. He makes you walk in authority beyond your title. He makes you love people who are impossible to love and forgive. When you are filled with the Holy Spirit, you're not just a person trying to do right. You become a vessel through which heaven touches earth. You begin to live from the inside out. No longer are you reacting to circumstances. You are responding to divine leading. You carry a presence that shifts rooms, a fire that cannot be extinguished, a strength that cannot be explained. And the world begins to see that you are not operating in natural capacity. I urge you, stop trying to function with a full schedule and an empty spirit. Stop relying on your gift and ignoring your source. Get plugged back into power. Invite the Holy Spirit not just to visit, but to dwell. Yield to him completely. Because when the Holy Spirit is in charge, there is no such thing as impossible. The presence of the Holy Spirit is the presence of power, and when he is fully alive in you, nothing can stop you from becoming everything God has called you to be. Purpose is the original intent of a thing in the mind of its creator before it was ever formed. That means you were not born and then given a purpose. Your purpose existed before you were ever born. You were created because of your purpose. And the one who holds the blueprint to your assignment is the Spirit of God. The Holy Spirit does not come into your life simply to improve it. He comes to reveal it. He comes to uncover what was always in the heart of God concerning you. You were never designed to wander through life guessing who you are or why you're here. You were created to live with clarity, direction, and conviction. And it is the Spirit who reveals the reason for your existence. There are people today striving, hustling, building businesses, chasing dreams, but still empty. Why? Because when you operate outside of your God-given assignment, fulfillment will always elude you. Success without purpose is still failure. What good is it to climb the ladder of success only to discover it was leaning against the wrong wall? You see, your assignment is not something you create, it's something you discover. And the Holy Spirit is the only one who can reveal it to you with accuracy and divine timing. It is the Holy Spirit who searches the deep things of God and reveals them to us. He doesn't just reveal mysteries about the future or the world. He reveals the mysteries about you, who you really are, what you are carrying, what season you are in, what territory you are called to take. He begins to open your eyes to the unseen layers of your identity and assignment that have been buried under years of labels, trauma, and limitation. You are not just a teacher, a parent, a worker, a student. You are a kingdom agent with a specific assignment, and it's the Spirit of God who opens your spirit to perceive what your natural mind cannot grasp. This is why you must walk in relationship with the Holy Spirit. He is not just your helper in times of trouble. He is your guide into your destiny. Too many people ask the wrong questions when it comes to purpose. They ask, what do I want to do? Instead of what was I born to do? They ask, what career pays the most? Instead of what calling brings God the most glory through my life? The Spirit doesn't work according to trends or human logic. He reveals what God intended for you from the beginning. He points you toward the eternal, not just the temporary. Some of you are frustrated not because you're doing the wrong things entirely, but because you're doing good things that are not God things. Busyness is not the same as purpose. Activity is not the same as productivity. Only the Spirit can distinguish the difference. You can work hard and still be off course. But when you walk in the assignment revealed by the Spirit, you begin to move in divine alignment. Opportunities begin to find you. The right relationships begin to open. The right doors begin to swing wide because you are finally moving in sync with heaven's plan. The Spirit doesn't only reveal your assignment, He also reveals when and how to move in it. Timing is crucial. Many people get a glimpse of their purpose but move prematurely or in their own strength, and the result is unnecessary struggle. But when the Spirit reveals, He also leads. He will not only show you what to do, He'll show you when and how to do it. You can't afford to walk ahead of Him or lag behind. The right move at the wrong time is still the wrong move. But when the Holy Spirit is your GPS, you will not miss your moment. When Saul became Paul on persecution, potential even when you're drowning in self-doubt. When God looks at you, he sees purpose. When the Spirit looks at you, he sees power. But until you see what they see, you will always hesitate to believe. That's why the Spirit doesn't only dwell in you, he speaks to you. He whispers truth louder than the lies in your head. He tells you you are more than a conqueror, even when you feel like a failure. He says you are the righteousness of God in Christ, even when shame says you're unworthy. His voice does not reflect your past. It reflects your potential. The more you listen, the more your mind begins to align with heaven. Peter is a perfect example. Before the Holy Spirit filled him, he was impulsive, fearful, and inconsistent. He had a heart for Jesus, but a mind gripped by fear. He walked on water for a moment, then sank because of doubt. He promised to die for Christ, then denied him 3 times out of fear. But after Pentecost, when the Holy Spirit came upon him, something changed. The man who once hid became the man who stood. The fisherman who ran from fire became the preacher who walked through it. Why? Because the Holy Spirit didn't just empower his hands, he renewed his mind. You cannot go where your mind hasn't gone first. The Holy Spirit expands your vision. He enlarges your perspective. He breaks the mental barriers that keep you thinking like a victim instead of a victor. Some of you are waiting for doors to open in your life, but the door of God is trying to open is in your mind. As the man thinks in his heart, so is he. If you keep thinking you're stuck, you will be, even with open doors around you. But when the Spirit renews your mind, you start seeing opportunities where others see obstacles. You start walking by faith, not by sight. You begin to believe that if God said it, then no circumstance, no voice, no history, no devil can stop it. Mental transformation is spiritual warfare. It means choosing truth when lies feel more familiar. It means rejecting fear even when it feels justified. It means learning to see yourself not through the eyes of your past, but through the eyes of your Creator. And the Holy Spirit is the only one who can guide you through that battle. He doesn't just tell you to change, he empowers you to change. It gives you the strength to unlearn what the world taught you and to embrace what the kingdom offers you. Some of the strongest chains are made of thoughts. Thoughts that were repeated so often, they became beliefs. And beliefs that were held so tightly, they became identity. But the Spirit of truth has come to break those chains. He has come to show you that you are not what happened to you. You are not the opinions of others. You are not the mistakes you made. You are who God says you are. And as your mind catches up to that truth, your life begins to reflect it. So this is not about hype, it's about transformation. The Holy Spirit is not here to entertain your emotions, but to elevate your thinking. He brings the mind of Christ into your life. He teaches you how to think, how to decide, how to discern, and how to lead. You no longer react to fear, you respond in faith. You no longer limit yourself to what is, you live according to what God says can be. And when your mind has been renewed, there's no limit to what God can do for you. Because once your mind is free, your life will follow. Boldness is not the absence of fear. It is the presence of the Holy Spirit. Many people are waiting for fear to disappear before they move, before they speak, before they obey. But that is not how the kingdom works. The Spirit of God doesn't remove fear before he moves. He empowers you in the midst of fear to rise above it. That empowerment is what we call supernatural boldness. It is a boldness that doesn't come from personality. that you are not forgotten. He gives you words when you don't know what to say. He gives you wisdom when you feel overwhelmed. He gives you strength when you feel like giving up. That's the power of supernatural boldness. It's not based on your personality. It's based on his presence. Paul, the apostle, understood this well. He asked the church to pray that he would speak with boldness as he ought to speak. This man, who had already preached across nations, planted churches, cast out demons, and survived beatings, still asked for boldness. Why? Because he knew boldness is not a one-time event. It is a daily empowerment. Every new level of obedience requires a fresh dose of courage. Every divine opportunity will be met with opposition. And if you don't have the Spirit's boldness, you'll shrink back when God calls you to step forward. The world doesn't need more passive believers. The world doesn't need more quiet Christians hiding their light under a basket. The world needs men and women who are bold enough to speak when it's uncomfortable, to act when it's unpopular, to stand for righteousness when compromise is celebrated. And that kind of boldness only comes from the Spirit. He puts fire in your bones. He puts steel in your spine. He gives you the ability to declare the truth in love and to do it with conviction that cannot be shaken. Once you are full of the Holy Spirit, boldness becomes your new normal. You no longer let fear vote in your decisions. You no longer let intimidation stop you from walking through open doors. You begin to understand that if God opened the door, he'll also give you the power to walk through it. You realize that the same Spirit who empowered Peter, Paul, Stephen, and others is the same Spirit living in you. And that Spirit is not timid, passive, or silent. He is bold. He is powerful. And he is ready to speak through you. Don't wait until you feel ready. Yield to the Spirit and move in faith. Don't wait for fear to vanish. Step forward with the fire of God in your chest. The world is waiting for the sons and daughters of God to rise, not just with words, but with a boldness that shifts atmospheres, challenges darkness, and brings light into the places others avoid. You were not saved to stay silent. You were not filled to stay fearful. You were filled to be bold. And that boldness will break barriers, open doors, and shake nations. Because it's not your boldness, it's his. One of the greatest misunderstandings in the walk of faith is the belief that if God is with you, there will be no resistance. But in reality, the opposite is often true. When the Holy Spirit empowers you and sends you forward in your divine assignment, you will encounter opposition, not because you're out of God's will, but because you're right in the middle of it. The presence of the Holy Spirit doesn't exempt you from storms. It equips you to walk through them. And he gives you the stamina to endure, the wisdom to navigate, and the resilience to keep going when everything around you says quit. Opposition is inevitable when you carry something from God. Whether it's internal resistance, external persecution, or spiritual warfare, the enemy does not fight what is not a threat. He doesn't waste his energy on people who pose no danger to his kingdom. But the moment you begin to walk in your divine purpose, the moment you begin to declare truth, break generational curses, set captives free, and walk by faith, resistance will rise. And in those moments, it is not your own strength that will sustain you. It is the Holy Spirit living within you. The Holy Spirit is not just your power for victory. He is your anchor in adversity. He doesn't just show up in the moments of triumph. He walks with you in the dark valleys. He gives you supernatural endurance to keep pressing forward when others give up. He teaches you how to suffer well, to worship through tears, to pray through pressure, and to stand your ground when everything in you wants to run. This perseverance is not human willpower. It is divine grace. It is the Spirit who gives you a perspective that sees beyond the moment into the promise. Think of Jesus in the wilderness. Before he performed a miracle, before he preached a sermon, he was led by the Holy Spirit into a place of testing. He fasted for 40 days and was tempted by the devil. But he stood firm. He resisted every temptation. He didn't bend, break, or bow. And it was by the power of the Holy Spirit that he overcame. That same Spirit that sustained Jesus in the wilderness is the one who now dwells in you. You are not alone in your battle. The one who endured and overcame is inside of you, giving you strength to do the same. The early church is a testimony of Spirit-empowered perseverance. These were not people with resources, influence, or political power. They were marginalized, hunted, beaten, imprisoned, and killed for their faith. And yet they endured. Why? Because they were filled with the Holy Spirit. They didn't pray for easier lives. They prayed for greater boldness. They didn't ask God to remove the fire. They asked him to refine them in it. And God answered by giving them a strength that the world couldn't explain and a joy that suffering couldn't steal. Paul, one of the greatest apostles, faced relentless opposition. He was stoned, whipped, shipwrecked, falsely accused, and thrown in prison. Yet he kept preaching, kept writing, kept planting churches, and kept pressing forward. He said, I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. That strength came through the Spirit. Paul understood that the call of God does not eliminate adversity. It gives you the ability to outlast it. Perseverance doesn't mean you never feel tired or discouraged. It means that even when you do, you don't give up. The Holy Spirit revives you when you're weary. He speaks life into you when your soul is heavy. He brings scriptures to your remembrance that fuel your faith. He reminds you of your calling when your confidence is low. He surrounds you with divine encouragement, sometimes through people, sometimes through visions, sometimes through his still small voice. He will not let you sink when you're willing to stand. Some of you are in the middle of intense opposition right now. You've been praying, fasting, believing, and still the resistance hasn't lifted. Let me tell you this. Your perseverance is not in vain. God is building something in you that cannot be developed on the mountaintop. The oil you carry is being crushed out in the valley. The strength you need for your next level is being forged in this fight. And the Holy Spirit is right there with you, interceding, guiding, and sustaining you every step of the way. When you rely on the Holy Spirit, quitting is no longer an option. Giving up is not in your vocabulary. You may bend, but you won't break. You may cry, but you won't crumble. You may feel weak, but his power is made perfect in weakness. This is not about how strong you are. It's about how surrendered you are. The more you lean on the Spirit, the more he empowers you to keep standing, to keep believing, and to keep moving forward. So don't interpret resistance as rejection.